Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. It's my pleasure to present to you today, this 10th of November 2021. Today, we're going to be chatting through gamification. Thanks once again for everyone joining, and what's up to everybody on YouTube that might be listening to this later. My name is JC Bonici, and it's going to be an absolute pleasure to show you the gamification options on Pluto LMS today. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. The agenda isn't as large as usual today. We just have two items, namely the leaderboard and points, and then secondly, we're going to chat about badges. There will be a Q&A session at the end, so please stick around if you have any questions and you'd like to have me answer those for you. Quick introduction to what gamification is, in case you're wondering and you don't know in the audience. Gamification, what that does is it incorporates fun elements or game-like principles to engage your user or your student. And by applying these game principles to learning activities, it can set a tone of progression, it can set a tone of competition through these points and visual aspects. And you can customize the visual aspects so that these gamification options are age appropriate for all ages. And it's not just kids, it's definitely an option for adults alike. And I'm sure by the end of this webinar, you'll see how you can apply both of these tools to further enhance your users' learner journey and to make their training a bit more effective. So let's jump right into the first tool, which is going to be the leaderboards and points. So I'm going to be doing a live example today. So I'm going to quickly click on Pluto LMS, and I have a sample course called list format. And what we're primarily going to be focusing on in this first section is this little leaderboard or gamification block on your right-hand navigation panel over here. So as a course instructor, course editor, what I can do is I'll be able to go into the settings, I'll be able to view the report. But for now, let's jump into ladder and we'll go tab by tab and explain what each tab is. So your first tab over here, well, let's first take a back step and explain what the leaderboard is. Well, it's through site participation where you can define rules and you can define levels. Your users will go up a leaderboard and they'll be able to see the leaderboard and compare themselves to other students, see how they're doing, see their progress to next levels, and it will overall create a sense of competition and a visual aspect for when the user levels up, which is also nice. Encourages participation too, because these rules are defined on clicking around and viewing courses, completing quizzes, maybe doing well in a quiz. And we'll see some of the rules and how they're defined when we get to the rules tab. So what we're looking at now is the ladder. The ladder will display the rank of the participant, the level of the participant via a little star and a badge. You'll get all the lists, or rather all the users enrolled into the specific course. And you'll find their total experience points and their progress to the next level. You can also filter this by group, so you're able to see, hey, who's in group 2 and who's doing the best, and filter that, which is also quite handy. The next tab I'm going to take a look at is the report tab. On the report tab, you can filter by first or last name, as well as groups once again. It'll give you the user, their level, their experience points, their progress once again. You can delete users off the ladder board this way, and you can also edit users using the gear icon over here. What I'm able to do is I can go and say, if I ever want to edit someone's total experience, I can go ahead and do that, and you should see this person changing levels. It is my own account, and I'll demonstrate what happens when you change levels when I jump out of the leaderboard. For now, you can see change from level 5 to level 4, and I'll show you how these levels are defined in a second. But first, I'd like to just show you the log tab. Log tab, once again, you can filter by first, last name and groups. And what the log tab does is it will tabulate every event that rewards experience points to a certain user. So in case there's any disputes or anything like that that you would like to come and back and check the logs for, we'll give you the date, time, event name, and the person concerned, as well as the reward. So you can always go back and have a look at those if you want to. In your levels tab, this is where you can define how many experience points is required to level up. So over here, you can see 120 level 2 points required to reach level 2, 276 to level 3, and as I go down all the way to level 10, it rises to close to 4,000 points. So the way the points works is you can either use the algorithm or you can switch the algorithm off, and then you'll be able to edit all the points required. If you switch the algorithm back on and you go to show more, it will give you an algorithm base of 120, which you can see over there, and then there's an algorithm coefficient of 1.3. So the idea behind the coefficient is that each level requires a bit more experience to reach, so that the gap between reaching level 9 and level 10 is greater than the gap between reaching level 2 and level 3. So it gives the user a sense of real progression, and that it's not incredibly, or the progression isn't too easy to get, you need to work for it. So the way the algorithm is calculated, just to give you an idea quickly, if I were to take 120 with being the base and I times it by the coefficient being 1.3, I would get a number, but the way the calculation is done is it always adds the base at the end. That's how you get the 276. Just to reiterate, you would have your 276, you would times it by 1.3, get a number, and you would plus the base number, and you would reach the next level, 479. So that's the idea behind the coefficient and the algorithm. Of course, all up to your what you would like to do with that. Then, of course, you can give each level a name and a description of your choosing. It depends how formal you want to be with the levels, with the naming conventions and the descriptions. But once you change that, you can go ahead and save changes. And I'll show you how this all looks to the end user in a moment. So yeah, that's how you define the levels and the points required to reach each level. Now, the next thing you can define is how experience points are gained by the user. So there are a lot of default settings that are built in that will award points based on various conditions. And you're welcome to keep these here. It's quite handy because, the leaderboard is functional right at the beginning. You don't actually need to go add any more rules in if you don't want to. But if you do, you can add rules, and then you can go and set a variety of conditions, whether it be a specific activity, whether it be an actual specific event, all up to you on how you want to add these rules. The next thing you can decide on is the visual aspect. So if you want to add an extra visual aspect besides these, or rather you want to change the visual aspect from these different colored stars, more than welcome to upload your own visuals for each star, and it shows you how to do so over here. So once again, you can customize the leaderboard to visually be appropriate to the age or to the program that you're giving, and it gives you all the options of renaming things and things like that too. So yeah, those are your basic ways to change the leaderboard up. There are a few more settings that I do want to show you, so I'm going to go and jump into course home. What you will notice when I jump into course home is my own gamification level is going to change. So remember, we edited my points from 1,000 to 500, and I've gone from level 5 to level 4. So this just gives you a small visual representation or example of how the end user will see the level up from the game, from the leaderboard. Cool, thanks. So next thing we're going to take a look at is the settings. Now, I'm going to click on settings over here, and this is how you can do some general settings, define your ladder, your cheat card, and the block appearance. So the first thing is first, you can enable points gain. This is helpful if you want to pause a leaderboard for a specific time. You can do so over there. You can also edit the info page. So if you want to or enable the info page, and that's something that I'll skip to and show you in a moment. Then you can enable level up notifications. So if the user is notified each time they're leveled up, you can go and say yes or no over there. You can enable the ladder, yes or no. You can switch it off if you want to. If you want the participants to remain anonymous, there is an option for you over there. You can also limit the participants' view so that they only see one or two people either above or below themselves, or display everyone. You can also display the rank or hide the rank if you want to. And there's also the additional columns. Would you want the end user to see the total? Do you want them to see the progress? You can decide on that yourself. And there is a cheat card that you can enable, and basically this will allow you or not allow the end user to go in and click on a bunch of activities and accumulate points unfairly. So this just helps keep it fair, keep it consistent, and make sure students or end users can't do anything tricky, really. And the last thing is you can edit the block appearance if you want to. So you can call it something else, whether it be leaderboard, whether it be something company specific, completely up to you. There's also an introduction. This shows to all the users the first time that they enter a course, just introduces the gamification block. And in this sense, the default will say participate in the course, gain experience points, and level up. Once again, you can go and edit that yourself. And the last thing you can change is display recent awards. And I'll show you what that looks like by changing that on. And what we're also going to go ahead and do is enable the info page so that I can show you what that looks like. Let's go save changes. Before I jump into the info page, let's go to course home. And over here, you can see the name has changed to leaderboard, and I can also see some recent awards over here and when it was awarded, which is quite nice. The other thing that's available to me now is the info page. So let's click on info page and find out what that's about. The info page allows you to view all the levels. It shows you how many points are going to be needed to reach this level. And you can also see your renamed level and also the description over here. Other thing that it does allow you to do is edit the information on this info page. So if I wanted to, I could go ahead and add some images. I can introduce the leaderboard by presenting what it is, and you can write about it over here. And the way where that shows up is right above the level display in your info page. So that in a nutshell is the leaderboard and points. Once again, very handy for creating competition, creating a sense that you're gaining, that you're progressing through a course, and it's a nice visual reminder that you are learning and that there is progress. So a very nice and simple tool to use. So let's go ahead and jump into our second gamification feature, which is badges, now that we're done with the ladder and leader points. So the first thing I'm going to show you is course-wide badges, and then after that we'll jump into the site-wide badges and show you what that looks like too. So to navigate to badges, what you're going to go ahead and do is click on Course Admin, and you'll see a badges section under the Course Administration tab. We'll say Manage Badges. So what we're going to do is click on that. There have been no badges added to this course, so we're going to go and start from scratch and add a new badge. So you're able to give your badge a name. You're able to give it a version if you want, as well as change the language. And you can also give your badge a description. I'm just going to call this test description for webinar. What you'll also be able to do is add an image. I'm just going to go and add a basic image of a trophy over there. And you're also able to give the image author's name over here, the image author's email, a URL, and a caption if you want to. In issuer details, this is a site-wide section, so we're going to leave that for now. And then you can also set a badge expiry date if you want to. It gives you relative dates, and there's also fixed dates too. So we've created our badge. Let's hit the Create Badge button. And the next thing it's going to ask you to do is define the badge's criteria. So there are a few options that you can choose from. It can either be manually awarded by a specific role, whether that be the site admin or the course creator. We'll jump into that in a second. You can also issue a badge based on course completion. This will be an automatic issue where this is manual, and it'll be based on your course completion settings. Over here in awarded badges, this is how you can award a badge based on several badges or previous badges. I'll demonstrate this in a bit. And then lastly, you also have activity completion. So when a specific activity is completed, you can get a badge. So let's just click on manual issue by role first. So it decides you get to decide which role can administer or give this badge. You can select either all the roles have to award this badge, or any of the selected roles can award this badge. That's just defining how the criteria is complete. And you can also give this a description if you want to. So you can give your badge a description. I'm just going to once again just write webinar example of description. Manually given by role. Something like that. Doesn't matter really. You can format this if you want to, or add a separate image. I'm going to go ahead and say save. First thing you'll notice is when you go to the criteria, you will see webinar, you'll see the description that you've given over here. You'll be able to see the criteria, and you'll notice that it isn't enabled yet. I'm going to click on enable in a moment. Let's just go through these one by one. You can also give a message to the user or the recipient. It can be, message subjects, can be congratulations, you earned a badge, we can edit this. And it also gives you a small description or message body. Attached badge to the message, yes, we will. And you can also notify the creator, badge creator of this if you want to. Just gonna head on over to, we're gonna skip recipients for now and head on to endorsement. Now endorsement over here, you can endorse, it says from a third party. This is to add value to a badge. So if you want to endorse your badges, there is an option to give the issuer details and the date, as well as the claim. So you can go ahead and add that to add extra value to your badges. In related badges over here, once again, you can add a whole bunch of related badges. This works when you have multiple languages and you want to give out a badge yeah, any related badges are displayed on the badge page. So you can relate badges to other badges, which is quite handy indeed too. And then lastly, alignments is if you want to specific any skills or specify any skills or standards that go along with the badge, you can go ahead and add those too. Gonna go ahead and head over to the recipients tab. I won't be able to award this because it's not enabled yet. We'll come back to this tab in a second, but you can see this badge hasn't been earned by anyone. Just so that we can go through each of the tabs, I'll go to the overview. This is where it will give you a complete overview of your badge. You'll be able to see the criteria, the recipients, the alignments, all the details that you've entered in the relative tabs, all the relevant tabs you can see over here. And then lastly, back in your edit details, you can also edit the details that you selected at the beginning. This will be locked once you hit the enable button, so be careful of that. So what we're going to go do is just hit the enable access button over here. Say this badge will make it visible to users and they'll be allowed to start earning it. Also says that the badges that meet the criteria will be issued this badge immediately after you enabled it. And once this badge has been issued, it is locked, and that includes the criteria and expiry settings. You will no longer be able to change those. Let's go ahead and go continue. And you can see you can disable the access of the badge once again, but you can see you can't edit these details or the criteria. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is click on the recipients tab again, and we're going to go ahead and award the badge now that it's been enabled. This is manually issued by role. I am a site administrator. What I'm going to do is award the badge to myself so that you can see what happens once the badge has been awarded. You can notice straight away I got a notification. If I were to click on the notification bar, it says, "Congratulations, you just earned a badge." I'm able to go and view the full notification, and this is where this information will come up, where you saw all of these, where you can edit this information. And then if I were to go to manage badges, I will be able to see all the badges that I have collected on the site. I'll be able to download the badge. I'll be able to make the badge visible or invisible. Rather, I can also search the badge for a name. If I want to share the badges outside this website, we'll need to connect a backpack, and we'll go into backpack settings in a future webinar. So another place a user can see the badge that's been awarded is if they were to access their profile. If they would access their profile and they saw their details, you'll see that there's a badges section over here, and it will list all the badges that have been awarded, and the end user can click on the badge to see the details and download the badge. You can see all the details that we inputted are over here. If there's an expiry, it will be added, and you can also see the criteria, etc., or the proof, in other words. Let's jump back to home and jump back into the course. Go back into the Manage Badges section. So in the Manage Badges section over here, we'll see our badge, all the badges that we have created listed. You'll see the recipients and be able to click over there. I'll quickly take you to the Recipients tab. You'll be able to disable access quickly over here. Once again, award the badge, change the settings. You are also able to copy this badge. So what I've done right there is just gone and copied the badge so that you can quickly use it as a template for anything else. What that will also do is copy the criteria, so you can go ahead and edit the criteria if you want to. While I'm here, I'm just going to go and show you a different criteria, and that is awarded badges. So awarded badges basically means you get this badge because you have been awarded a string or one badge beforehand. It can be all of the selected badges or any of the selected badges. And once again, you can give this a description too. The other criteria that we didn't go through was course completion. If I were to just demonstrate what that looks like, we'll show you the minimum grade required, and it needs, if you want to enable a date, you can go ahead and do that. And your last option is activity completion. So you're able to award badges automatically based on the completion of a specific activity. These are all the activities in my course. I can go and enable a badge because this specific activity has been completed. And if I want to, I can also enable a date. So that is a high-level description of course badges. And the next thing we're going to take a look at is your site-wide badges. So to view your site-wide badges, what you're going to go now do is click on Site Admin. Once you're in Site Admin, in the first tab, you'll notice there are badges at the beginning, and you can go and edit your badge settings. You're able to add a new badge. You can manage your backpacks, which is something we'll be taking a look at in a future webinar. And what we're going to go ahead and do is click on Manage Badges over here. And Manage Badges, this is now on a site-wide level. So this is a badge that I had added beforehand. What I'm going to go ahead and do is just create a new badge, just to demonstrate the differences in terms of a site-wide badge and how that can be used differently to the course-wide badges. So I'm just going to call this webinar test. Once again, you can give it a description, version. You'll be prompted to add an image, which I'll go ahead and do now. And exactly the same as what we covered in the course-wide badges. Very similar, or rather exactly the same in the site-wide badges. Once the badge is created, the difference here is now the badge criteria. So there are a couple differences. You can see completing a set of courses is now an option. The next one is profile completion and cohort membership. So let's just go take a look at these one by one. So over here, what this will do is you can go and add which courses you want to create a string of courses basically to award this badge. So once these courses have been completed, you will be able to award the badge, the appropriate badge. Once again, what it will do is it'll give you a minimum grade, and it needs to be completed by a specific time, and you can go ahead and add the rest of your courses. And once again, any or all, and you can give it a description too. So that's the completion of a set of courses. The next one would be profile completion. Let's have a look at that. Now, profile completion, you can go and select which pieces of profile you want completed. You can also have your custom profile fields shown. And once again, we see these usual settings that we're used to by now. This is how you can add profile completion badges to your site. I'm just going to hit the save button. I should have said cancel. And the last one is cohort membership. So the criteria for cohort membership, what that means is which branch are they available, or do they belong to? So based on which branch they belong to, you can issue a badge, which can be useful too. So of course you can add multiple criteria per badge, as you can see over here, or you can do one by one criteria. But essentially your site-wide badges are extremely similar to your course-wide badges, except for the different criteria or site-wide, not course-wide. So that reaches the end of my gamification webinar. Now we're going to move to the Q&A session. You're welcome to ask as many questions as you'd like, and I'd get through all of them. Fantastic. So thank you very much. Our first question has come through, and it says, can you add more than 10 levels to the leaderboard and points tool? Yes, you can. Quickly show you how to do that. If I was back in the course and I navigated to the ladder, I went to the levels section over here, what I can do is increase the level count to whatever I want. In this case, I'm just going to go select 15 and save changes. What I will do is add the extra badges. You can see 11 to 15. It's also added the experience points needed using the algorithm and the coefficient that we talked about earlier. And there you can go and edit the visual aspect to it too. Great. The next questions come through. Can you please give us a live example of what the student sees in terms of gamification? Yes, I can do that with pleasure. Firstly, what I will go and do is to demonstrate a badge. I will go and once again just award a badge to a user, and then I'll switch over to a student view for you. So we're going to go and award our webinar badge that we created to a student, because remember, this is a manually issued by role, and because I am a site admin, I can do this as per the criteria. What we're going to go do is award student 1 this badge. Once that's done, I'm going to log in as the student, and I'll demonstrate what they can see in terms of gamification. So give me one moment, and I'll just do a quick switch. Awesome. Bringing the student's view on screen now. What you can see is now I'm logged in as student 1, and first thing I will notice is my notification over here. I'm going to go ahead and click, and congratulations, you have just earned a badge. I'm able to view my notification, and over here it will show me the full notification for the badge that I've been awarded. Also be able to click on the badge and gather the full information, including the criteria and if there's an expiry date. I'll also be able to download this badge, and if I want to, I'll also be able to see the badge in my profile over here. And there's the badge, and I can navigate to it too. Going back to home to demonstrate the leaderboard. So let's click on list format, the course that we were looking at the beginning. And as an end user or student, the first thing you'll notice is the leaderboard over here. I'll be able to access the info page and the ladder because of the settings that I set right at the beginning as an administrator. So I am able, as the student, to see this page that we are familiar with, as well as the ladder. And I only see myself in this ladder because of the settings that we selected earlier. So I can see, as the end user, you will be able to see exactly what the admin wants you to see. So you can, if you remember, remove the progress column and remove the total column, even remove the rank column. And this view highly depends on the settings that you choose for the end user. Just to jump back to home, you can see I am currently on 207 points. Let's just go and have a look at the interactive book over here. As I participate with the book and I interact with this activity, if I were to click back home, I will see that I've gained a couple of points purely just by viewing this activity. Let's just jump to home. And you can see I have jumped to 216 points. And I got some points over here for viewing a module. So that's what it looks like for the end user. Remember, you can edit the settings so that this view is different for them. It all depends on what you would like. Fantastic. That looks like it's all of the questions for this week. Really wanted to thank you all for joining in, and please stay tuned for future webinars that are coming up. And if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to support@plutolms.com, or you can email me directly at jc@plutolms.com. As always, it's been a pleasure, and we'll see you next time for another installment of best practices with Pluto LMS. Cheers, everybody.